Josh, do you think Matrix 4 is going to be better than Spider-Man No Way Home?
Are you
serious? I'm Joe.
I'm Josh.
You've got questions?
Yo, feeling ground.
Welcome to Feeling Grounded with your hosts, Josh and Joe.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast. Smash that like button. Also, share this video to any person that you feel might enjoy this content. Also, become a patron. On Patreon, you guys will be able to see exclusive content that Josh and I genuinely love to put out there. Also, hit that notification bell, whether you be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or our main YouTube channel where you get to see our gorgeous faces. Also, follow us at Feeling Grounded Podcast. That's at Feeling Grounded Podcast. You guys will be able to see a little bit of extra stuff before episodes air.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment or a question because that will help boost us in the algorithm, whether it be the notification bell, liking our videos, commenting our videos. We want to spark the conversation. Have you guys seen Spider-Man No Way Home? What do you guys think about Matrix 4? You've got questions?
Feeling grounded.
Entertainment. Where's the entertainment, guys?
All right, Joe. So before we begin the segment,
We will be spoiling Matrix Resurrections and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spiderweb.
We will be spoiling Space Jam.
No Man.
We will be spoiling Matrix Resurrections and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spiderweb, no man,
No Man's Land. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way. Matrix Resurrections is not a good movie. It is a total waste of time. It's a bad movie. Ultimately, it is your choice if you want to go see this movie, but in my opinion, and I'm sure in Josh's opinion, you will be wasting 2.5 hours of your life. I've heard mixed things. I've heard mixed reviews about this. What have you heard, Josh?
Same thing. I mean, most of the stuff I heard was that the movie's bad. It was total crap. And the horrible fourth sequel to the Matrix.
Yeah, I actually remember back in 2007 when I first started watching The Matrix, I saw this fake trailer online that also had Matrix Resurrections. So they copied. I mean, you have the like, how generic of a title is Resurrections? Let's be serious, because you have the fourth installment of, say, the Aliens franchise is also named Alien Resurrection. You know, look how that turned out. Look on IMDb, viewers and listeners. But yeah. Title, not a very catching one. The first trailer, it was fantastic. Hooked me in, but it's really most of the footage is from the very beginning of the movie, which is the only thing that really hooked me the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of this movie, and then fell completely off the map when you see in their full form Lawrence Fishburne Morpheus's character. Lawrence Fishburne is not in this movie. It's a total recast, which is part of my problem I'll get into in a second. Recasting. Yeah. I've heard comparisons to, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Episode 8. Josh and you saw that. I have horrible feelings towards that movie. Critics made comparisons towards The Last Jedi because it's a very bold film. Last Jedi had insertions of cultural messaging, and that's not a very good thing to put in your movies. We've said this time and time again. Current cultural stuff.
Yeah, it's really not a good idea.
Yeah. Now this movie has that per se, but it's not outright in your face about it. That's not the reason that this movie is bad. It's boring and it's convoluted. It relies too much on the past to make you pay attention to the here and now. It shows you scenes from previous movies that you're supposed to like, oh my goodness, just like the Star Wars sequels were.
It doesn't look good. It
just feels like a generic sci-fi movie with elements from past Matrix films capitalized. It just felt very soulless. Matrix 1 is great. It changed the game of all sci-fi movies when it came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. And the way that they did special effects and the way they did everything was just crazy.
Still hold up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 and 3 are great, not great, but they have great moments.
Right. Yeah, I don't how they end it, but The trilogy.
I agree. I think it was completely
Just took away everything, the steam of the whole.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But
Yeah. Those two were filmed at the same time. Did you know that?
really?
Yeah. Yeah, this came out 2 different times the same year.
Wow.
Now on to recast. Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus character was recasted.
It was Morpheus, like that character, the same character. It wasn't like a new form of him or like a. It was him.
Yeah, it was
and
him.
then they just recasted it.
Yeah. And then same with Agent Smith. Agent Smith is a totally cookie cutter, not made to resemble Hugo Weaving, who was a fantastic villain in his own right. And just by putting his name Agent Smith, you should have just made him into a entirely new character.
Yeah, that's not a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, not resembling who they are at all. There's comedy in this movie that doesn't make me feel like a Matrix film. Like, The Matrix doesn't really have comedy.
No, it's dark and cynical. Like
Yeah, dark and cynical, exactly. But yeah, we'll compare the two in a second. But what'd you think of No Way Home? I saw this the day after opening day.
Oh my gosh, I loved No Way Home. I love it so much. I'm gonna watch it again. We're gonna watch it this Thursday.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing it on Thursday. So
Nice.
tomorrow, after this episode airs Wednesday,
We're both gonna
we'll be
watch it
seeing
for the
on
second
Thursday.
time.
Yeah, second
Yeah.
time.
I love this film.
Me going into this film, I only cared about Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler, because him and Andrew Garfield do show up in the film
Yeah.
for big parts, like halfway through the film.
Yeah, and the reveal is awesome. I think the reveal is so funny. And it worked out so well.
Oh yeah. Tom Holland, he's a great Peter Parker, but in his I don't really care about the universe that he was in before going into this film. I always saw him as Iron Boy, Iron Spider, whatever you want to call it, in the shadow of previous people. He didn't really stand on his own, but this whole 3-part trilogy for him is like the single longest origin story for Spider-Man. At the very end of this whole entire trilogy, he became Spider-Man.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, I know. That's very true.
And it took him long enough. Not the actor's fault, but it's great.
But I think that's kind of what I like about it is it does feel like finally, like he's there, he's here, he made it.
Yeah,
Now he's Spider-Man.
Because the thing is, we only cared about Toby going into the film. I don't know if you could say the same about that.
Yeah, I was never really invested in the Tom Holland.
Because I'm not, like we said before about Phase 4, who cares anymore? I'm not really interested in these characters. I was only interested in what they were helping us bring to the seats, rumors of Toby and Andrew Garfield. So that's where I was when going into this. But after that, finishing up this film, there was sacrifice, there was payoff, there was a catharsis.
There was loss.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy good, and something that totally came out of the blue, but had meaning and emotional weight to it.
No, exactly, and I'm glad they did it. And I know this is a big spoiler, but we warned everybody. But when I was so happy that they did that. Like, not to say that I wanted her to die, but I think that
Aunt May you're talking about.
When Aunt May died, like, it was so powerful. Like, that was the thing that he needed to become the real Spider-Man. To like face like loss and tragedy.
I also enjoyed the fact that she said the "with great power comes great responsibility" line.
Like she had to say it, and it's just a part of the origin story of Spider-Man. So you have to have that happen, and then somebody has to die to get the power and like of the loss and the tragedy to
Yeah, so I was completely fine with her saying that instead of like Uncle Ben character. Yeah.
And I'd say Willem Dafoe, oh my goodness gracious.
He was in top tier form.
Amazing. And that one fight scene in that building, his style, I was getting chills at his moves. Like, when he was throwing them around and doing all, I was like, this is like one of the coolest fight scenes I've like ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool.
Yeah, and he was just impenetrable, that character.
Oh man, so good. He was like the one that stood out above all the others.
Yeah, if there was anybody that needed to be a villain, like at first I was kind of bothered that they used like an entirely old villain from like the Raimi-verse, but I'm like, no. This Green Goblin character, he has
as soon
more
as he
left
came
in
back,
him. He has more left in him. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, this is it, man. This is it.
He did his own stunts too, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, which is amazing.
That's the only reason he was going to come back, according to pop culture news sources.
Right. I know. I really loved this movie. It was just simply incredible, and I'm so stoked to watch it again.
Yeah, me too. Now to go into what brought us there in the first place. The intros for Toby and Andrew Garfield. I would actually say that coming out of this movie, I was, of course, impressed with Tobey Maguire, like as I am. His story is all completed. But for Andrew Garfield, I really hated his movies. It wasn't his fault. It was just script writing.
Bad movies.
But he was fantastic in this movie.
He shined.
Like, the chemistry between him and everyone else, he brought his A game. Every single one of them could have phoned it in, but he was comical. He was a very good Peter Parker, and he brought emotional weight to it. His payoff with saving Mary Jane was great because he failed to save Gwen Stacy's girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And that moment was like my favorite part of the movie when he redeemed himself and had that redemption from saving MJ. And you just see the look on his face, and
Yep.
it was just,
it's because of his performance in this movie that there's a hashtag Make the Amazing Spider-Man 3, which I totally support.
Yeah.
I totally support. The guy deserves every single, because I forget what actress he was talking to, but apparently like the Spider-Man movies that he was a part of, it like broke him apparently. And to have him bring his A game in this and then just come right back into this like as if nothing happened, the guy deserves every bit to take another shot at this.
Yeah, I think so. And then to get the right director and writers, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, and it just shows too that corporations are now listening to the fans, which is ultimately half the battle now.
Yeah, that's what I loved about this film too, is that we're speaking, like the people are speaking like what we want in our movies. And this was just an amazing story with a little bit of nostalgia, a great great plot line, great, just enjoyable little escapist thing. And there's no ounce of like culture within it.
Yeah.
And there's no preachiness.
Honestly,
there's no
there was
heavy-handedness,
nothing of that in there. There was a little bit in like Matrix 4. That's not the reason it was bad, but that's a part of the Hollywood culture that we are living in right now. But at the same time, it's not a cash grab, this type of film. It uses stuff to get in our seats, but at the same time, it allows what they created to stand on its toes,
and to speak for itself and to pay for itself, and it's working.
Exactly. There's nothing better to back us up in that statement than Tom Holland's character making the ultimate sacrifice at the very end of the movie for people to forget about his Spider-Man. That's what a true hero would do, and I support. That's what truly gives people hope, seeing that sacrifice. What made us love characters such as Luke Skywalker, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, it's because there's true sacrifice, and we find heroes in ourselves because of we have a generation of kids that are going to look now up to Tom Holland's Spider-Man because of that sacrifice. Seeing it at the end, there's going to be a great story to come out when they make a new one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, watch it, and don't watch Matrix 4.
Do not.
The future is inevitable, but let's travel back in time.
So, December 29th, 1916, Grigory Rasputin, one of the most mysterious characters in history, he's murdered by Russian conservatives who reportedly, supposedly killed or attempted to be killed in multiple ways, such as he was poisoned, he was shot, and even drowned in the Siberian Mystic. So he had this following that he was immortal, but he was finally killed December 29th in an effort to, halt his influence over Empress Alexandra, the Tsar and the royal family. He's in pop culture. I think he's even in The King's Man, which has been trying to come out since 2019. He was in the movie Anastasia. So there is a lot of influence with him, that he was this very influential, even mystical holy man that used all these tactics in order to gain the throne.
Was he officially killed? Was he decapitated?
The way that Rasputin died, it was a gunshot wound, broken bones, organ damage, and infection of the wound, loss of the ability to move any part of the body. So that's what ballistic trauma means.
1997, the bird flu was running rampant in China. And at this time, the people of Hong Kong decided to kill all of the birds that they owned.
Wow.
Just to snuff.
I only remember the bird flu craze in 2007, not 10 years
Kind of
beforehand.
came back again. Yeah, it was kind of like flaring up since the 60s, and then it got serious in the 90s, and then serious again in 2007, and then it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. Do you remember that movie Evan Almighty? Bruce Almighty Evan. Like, they made like a joke about the bird flu, and I was like, this wouldn't be known.
No.
Now, if you were watching it, mostly
there's
because
no
it's
way.
not like the best movie, but
Right.
because nobody
No,
would watch
it's
it.
not.
But
I totally watched it as a kid though. I ate
yeah.
it up. I loved it. But no, it's like the worst movie ever. Yeah. So that's the thing. So they decided in Hong Kong to kill off all of their birds in 1997 to just try to stop the flu.
It's time for Happy Crappy.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Joe.
Merry Christmas, Merry
And-
Christmas.
And happy, well, not Happy New Year yet. It's too early.
We're coming up to it.
So how you doing, man? How was your Christmas?
My Christmas was great. I spent time with mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, 3 dogs. It was wonderful.
Awesome.
It was
Good-
as
some
it
good
should have
family
been.
time. Yeah,
And my niece. I cannot forget about my niece.
the El Nice.
My Christmas was great. How was yours?
Beautiful. It was nice. It was pretty good. My kids are sick.
Dude, what are you feeding them?
I don't know what's going on. It's just driving me insane. I know. As soon as we're done with the hand, foot, and mouth thing, now they got colds, and Grace has been hacking up gunk, and it's been great. So we had a chilled time. We stayed home for Christmas Day, which was beautiful. The first time I've ever just stayed home on Christmas
Yeah.
Day, and it was actually amazing. It was very great. And then today we spent some time with in-laws, and the kids were. This was like the first year that like Eli understood what was happening, and so it was very fun. He came down in the morning, and I got all ready because I made cinnamon buns pretty early before they woke up, and Eli went up to the Christmas tree and was like, "Look at all these presents," and I was very happy about that.
Yeah, he knows what's happening. He knows who Santa is, too.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Loved it. Yeah, so that's my happy.
That's
and
your
then
happy?
The crappies that they're sick again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Claire was saying that, well, especially since we have a lot of kids now, that they just get each other sick, and they're building immunity. So like we'll have 1 year where they're pretty sick, and then after that, because apparently kids get anywhere from 10 to 14 respiratory illnesses from October to May.
Okay.
Which I hope that's not the case. I mean, it's already kind of seeming like the case because I get like sick like all the time. But yeah, happy crappy.
Well, as I said before, my happy would be definitely with family. My niece, we took her to the zoo today.
Nice.
So it was her first time seeing cheetahs and all these different animals from Africa. And we also thought that an eagle was going to snatch her up, but the wings were clipped, so that we were kind of afraid about that. But no, everything was fine, which it's pretty sad when you go to zoos, if you really do think about it. We're raised to go into zoos and be like, wow, look at all these animals, but they're taken from their natural habitat. You got to feel bad a little bit. But yeah, spending time with family was breath of fresh air. Was definitely needed, and I was happy to be with them. My crappy would be Matrix 4. So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, smash that like button. Also, share this video to any person that you feel might enjoy this content. Also, become a patron. On Patreon, you guys will be able to see exclusive content that Josh and I genuinely love to put out there. Also, hit that notification bell, whether you be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or our main YouTube channel where you get to see our gorgeous faces. Also, follow us at Feeling Grounded Podcast. That's at Feeling Grounded Podcast. You guys will be able to see a little bit of extra stuff before episodes air.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment or a question, because that will help boost us in the algorithm, whether it be the notification bell, liking our videos, commenting our videos. We want to spark the conversation. Have you guys seen Spider-Man No Way Home? What do you guys think about Matrix 4? You've got questions?
Feeling grounded.